Today's video, I've teamed up with Wealthsimple to show you guys exactly how to transfer an existing brokerage account. There's even some sweet bonuses that are going on right now. We'll talk about this later. And I think this is perfect timing for this video because I myself just recently made the switch to Wealthsimple. I did this exact process myself, and so far I've been loving it. And the great news is that if you've never transferred an account before, the thought of it seems complex, overwhelming, and scary. But as you'll see, the process itself is an extremely simple one. It is important that it's done correctly, however. For instance, a very common mistake that is made when transferring your account is thinking that you can take your existing or your current brokerage account, withdrawing those funds. So I'm going to withdraw this back into my bank account, my checking, savings, whatever the case is, and then redeploy that or recontribute that back into this new account. This is not the method that we want to use, especially if we're using something like the RRSP, the Registered Retirement Savings Plan, where that could lead to all sorts of headache. With the RRSP, that would absolutely actually classify as a withdrawal. You're withdrawing from the RSP, that amount that you withdrew would actually be taken into your income for that year. Then you'd be essentially taking that and recontributing back into a plan where you may not have space. It is just a major potential headache and potential major tax liabilities at play. Instead, what we want to do is essentially have our existing or current brokerage account. We want to open a new brokerage account and simply make a transfer or a shift, a direct shift to this new account. This would avoid any major tax complications. Now, before we dive into how exactly to do that properly, it is important to understand the three different types of transfers in general. For one, we have the in-cash transfer. Number two, the in-kind transfer, or number three, a partial/mixed transfer. To start off with the in-cash transfer, as you can probably guess by the name, essentially what we're doing in this case is we're indicating to our current brokerage that we would essentially like to liquidate or sell all of the assets, all of the holdings within this portfolio and make the transfer in cash. Let's assume that in our portfolio, we hold $50,000 worth of investments, whether that's in one ETF, whether that's mixed with 3 stocks, 5 stocks, doesn't really matter. Essentially what we would be doing, liquidating that all, and in our new brokerage account, when the transfer comes through, we'd have $50,000 cash to play with. This is the type of transfer, FYI, that I recently decided to do for my personal situation because I wanted to take my current portfolio, essentially wipe it, clean slate, blank slate, and have all that dry capital to work with to build a brand new portfolio. Now, option number two, the in-kind transfer. What if you're in a position where you don't want to sell your investments? You don't want to liquidate your portfolio for whatever reason. Well, the in-kind transfer takes your portfolio exactly as is and simply shifts that over into the new brokerage account. Of course, a scenario where this may be the best option for you is, as discussed, if you don't want to sell your investments, you want to keep your portfolio, maybe you just want to try a new provider or a new brokerage, simply shift it over. Another scenario where this would be quite common is if, for example, you have certain stocks or investments, ETFs, that are either up, down, and you don't necessarily want to have to trigger a sell at a gain or a loss, you just simply want to shift it over. The in-kind transfer would get that job done for you. And option number three, of course, you do have the option of doing a mixed or a partial transfer. You'll hear those terms thrown out interchangeably. As the name implies, it's pretty much a mix of both. You absolutely can look at your brokerage account and say, I want to move XXX holding in kind, XXX in cash. You have that total flexibility. You would go ahead and do this with a mixed or partial transfer. At the end of the day, you need to go do your own research and decide which of these transfer methods is the best for your situation. There is no one better than the other. It's very situational, very personal. And it's ultimately up to what you decide. Now, a couple of quick housekeeping items that you may want to be aware about. Number one, Wealthsimple only supports transfers from Canadian institutions, all right? If you're watching this and you have an American brokerage, a cross-border brokerage, that would not be supported. Number two, mutual funds are not allowed. So on Wealthsimple, mutual funds are not a supported investment on the platform, meaning that if you currently invest in mutual funds, you may want to opt for either an in-cash transfer or liquidate those prior to moving to Wealthsimple. Number three, wait times. How long does it take for a transfer to take place? Great question. Well, up on the screen, feel free to pause and find the exact account that is applicable to you. In general, we're looking here at about 2 to 4 weeks. From my experience, truthfully, the transfer actually took a lot quicker than that. I think my transfer was done in less than a week, but here on the site, it does state an estimated timeline of 2 to 4 weeks. So I would say, go based off that, but who knows? It might be a little bit earlier. Lastly, are there costs involved with a transfer? Very good question. Well, reading here, closing out or transfer fees. your institution may charge, and by institution, your current brokerage may charge a transfer out fee, and this will be deducted from your account value. Transfers, however, of at least $15,000 are eligible for a transfer out reimbursement. Conditions apply. I can include a link if you'd like to look more at this, but here's actually an example from my situation where I did classify as that $15,000 transfer or more, and my reimbursement was automatically credited to my account balance. One additional cost that may come into play is a deferred sales charge, or a DSC. This may only affect a small camp of you guys if you are investing in mutual funds, probably less common now anyways, but certain mutual funds, let's say you bought them a certain way at the bank, they may have penalties, if you will, or a deferred sales charge upon selling. That's something that you can work out with your current advisor, again, if that is something that applies to you. Now, moving on into the actual process of how to transfer an account, what are you gonna need on your end? And there's not a whole lot, to be completely honest with you guys. But number one, you're going to need your existing brokerage account number. You can get this quite easily by logging into your existing brokerage account. Number two, a statement from your existing brokerage account. You're going to need this as you go through the process, essentially like a PDF that you can upload, just any statement really, but obviously the most recent one being best. Of course, you're going to need a Wealthsimple account as well. So if you haven't already signed up for Wealthsimple, go to the app, go to their desktop portal and sign up for an account. You can get that set up very, very, very easily. Now, the process itself to making the transfer, let's go through the steps here one by one. I'm going to be sharing screenshots from the desktop. You can obviously do this from your phone as well, but you log into Wealthsimple, you select move, then move an account to Wealthsimple. Here, you're going to be prompted to ask for what account type you're looking to transfer. You're going to punch in that existing account number from the old brokerage that we just chatted about. That's why you're going to want to grab that. Then you essentially follow the prompts in the portal to open up your new Wealthsimple account. It'll basically be a shell of the account until the money transfers over. But the portal itself is so intuitive and so simple that I don't even need to bore you guys with going through it. It is so easy and easy to follow along with. You just follow the steps, and then before you know it, in a couple of weeks, you're going to have that account transferred over. One thing I'll note, of course, is that the Wealthsimple support has been extremely helpful. At any point, you can just reach out and they will be gladly willing to assist you. Now, last but not least, in finishing off this video, let's talk about some of the bonuses that are currently being offered if you're considering making the switch to Wealthsimple. Because depending on the value of your transfer, I'll pop some up on the screen here, guys. If you are transferring between 100,000 and a penny shy of 300,000, 299,999, you are eligible for a gift of an iPhone 16 or a 13-inch MacBook Air. If you're transferring a dollar value between 300,000 and 499,999, a penny shy of 500,000, you're eligible for the iPhone 16 Pro or the 14-inch MacBook Air. Or for our big ballers out there, if you're transferring $500,000 or more, you could be walking away with an iPhone 16 Pro Max or a MacBook Pro. And to claim these offers, I will be including a link down in the description below. You can basically go in and fill out that form. That'll let them know that I sent you. It's also a great way of supporting the channel. And of course, I'll mention too, if you're watching this video after this promo has ended, don't stress, keep an eye out. I feel like they always have exciting new offers in the pipeline, so just keep a pulse on it. I'm sure there'll be something in the future. I will mention too, just on the top of my head, is that if you're transferring these dollar figures to begin with, you are going to be qualifying for their various tiers. So their premium tier at over 100K, possibly even the generation tier, which comes with all sorts of benefits. Not going to cover it in this video, but I will, of course, dive deeper in future videos. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel as well. At the end of the day, guys, transferring your brokerage, as I said at the very top, it may seem like an overwhelming process if you've never done it before, but it is very common and very straightforward. It happens all the time, every single day. That said, it's of course extremely important to do your own research, do your own due diligence, find out what the best method is for you, if this is the right decision for you. But hopefully this video was able to help you point you in the right direction. Like I said, I just made the transfer myself no less than a month, maybe 2 months ago. And I've personally been loving it, but you can make that decision for yourself. If you guys enjoyed, give it a thumbs up. Again, there'll be a form down below. You can go in and fill that out to see whether you're eligible for some of these exciting offers. Leave a thumbs up on the video, guys. Drop some comments down below. But I thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.